today. So, you know, I guess you had to do the family thing.
You're all good.
Okay. I'm just going to wait for the live to pop up on Facebook so that I can look at the comments. And then we'll be good to go. But I did want to say thank you for hanging out today. This is going to be a blast.
Oh, listen, I love talking shop, whether it be my movie or somebody else's movie. So
that's awesome.
Dark Knight, the podcast with Troy Escamilla. I don't know if you know that, but
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've read. I haven't listened to it yet. I'm a terrible.
Oh, yeah.
For the last year, I've been terrible with podcasting in general because I've had a lot going on with work. Yeah. So I've just been kind of chilling on social media and uploading stuff. But
yeah,
I'll get there.
Yeah. Oh no, it's something though that like he's a filmmaker. I don't know if you know. He did Mrs. Claus. He did Teacher Shortage. He did Party Night. So more queer cinema.
Okay. I did see those on your page. Yeah. Hold on. Where's the log? There it is. Okay. Let me go to manage video. And there we go. Okay. Hello, and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim. Mark is not with us today. He had some family stuff to do. But joining me today is Roger Connors. Roger, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing well.
Good.
So first things first, let's talk about you before we get into the meat of the movie. Ha ha ha. You actually have been in quite a few films.
I've been in a bunch of movies that a lot of people have not seen, but yes, I have a high volume of cheap indie horror titles under my belt.
Look, we love indie horror here. That's what we're all about.
Well, but I'm in the right place.
Tell me how that got started. How did you start acting?
I mean, I grew up doing theater in classic gay child fashion. You know, I grew up doing musical theater. And then at a young age, I started developing an infatuation with horror. You know, it really became major defining trait of who I am. And so I feel like horror cinema is a beautiful intersection of like having a theatrical background, and also just having an appreciation for the genre. Crafting it myself was like a natural instinct, I suppose, if you will.
That's fair. Do you prefer being in front of the camera or behind it?
I would say that I take more joy from being in front of the camera, but I feel like because I have a very extreme attention to detail, I probably actually the potential that I have for working behind the camera, I would say, is greater. But I love creating a character. I love having the chance to delve deeper and pull things out of myself and tap into things within myself and old memories, using that material to try to create a different person and someone completely fresh and new. I love that challenge.
Oh, nice. I do not have that bug in me. I tried in high school, not going to lie. I was doing musical theater and then I realized I couldn't sing.
Okay.
So then I gave regular theater a shot. I did one play at a community theater and went, I'm just not meant to be on stage.
Where?
And that's okay. I am a technical person. I can build stuff, but do not ask me to get creative. You give me a plan, I can do it, but do not ask me to get creative.
My partner is an engineer, and he is, while he has some artistic flair, he is very much a type A personality, and all the things you just listed, we balance each other very well because I am very much the typical queer artist. I'm chock full of emotions. I'm always oozing them, and I'm always feeling a lot of feelings and wanting to interpret it through art. And that's really what Meat was for me, was taking a lot of things I was feeling and thinking and needing for myself coming out of COVID and channeling it into art,
Well, since you brought it up, let's get started on Meat, shall we? So
let's dig in. I have so many little quibs I get to run with because of the title.
Absolutely. So first of all, congratulations on it's Houston Film Fest, right?
Houston Horror Film Festival, yeah.
Sorry. Meat is one of their selections for their film festival, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I did get the opportunity to watch that, so thank you very much.
Yes.
But tell me how this movie came about. How did you get? Because you wear at least 3 hats with this film, right? You're in the film, you helped write it, and you directed it.
I conceptualized Meat.
Okay.
For over the period of years, I've been working on, for me as a gay man, what I long to see in the sense of representation from the genre. I've been writing this script in various forms since, my 20s. Okay. And there's so many different elements that came into play, you know, being an HIV positive man.
Mhm.
That's something I wrote to personally for a while, and then I was like, let's pull that back a little bit. I had a lot of different themes from my life that I was writing into that I was like, I think this is important, and then like I don't think we need it. So you know, it kept taking different forms, and it wasn't until my co-writer Zach Schildwachter came into the picture and kind of helped rein it in and find out what is the core story we're trying to tell. We're trying to tell a very queer story, a familiar story that we as horror fans are all used to, the
Yeah.
standard slasher formula, but we're trying to tell it in a queer way that will
Mhm.
resonate with queer people and not just feel like we're just by the numbers, this is a slasher but everyone's really gay. Like there's got to be some humanity to this, and
Yep.
he really helped me get on track and hone that in. But yeah, I've been working on this for years, and it was just coming out of COVID. I needed it. I was like, I'm ready. And it was therapeutic for me. It really was. It was the project that kept me going after going through the same trauma that everyone else went through, you know?
Right. Absolutely. So it is a slasher film, and it's done really, really well. Like it follow, you know, you have some of the traditional slasher tropes in it, which is pretty great to watch. You have some really great special practical effects in the film.
Thank you.
I'll be honest, with the first death scene, I thought was a little tame,
Mhm.
and then you just went wild, and it was great.
We wanted to save we wanted every kill to feel like a centerpiece. So I think we wanted to build. We didn't want to like shoot our load, if you will, and then have it that everyone was disappointed. So I knew with each one I was kind of wanting to build
Mhm.
and build and build. And yeah, I mean, hopefully a few of them. I've gone into a lot of slashers where I felt let down by literally every kill in the movie. I'm like, we've got to make sure that we're at least serving up some major kills in this film, so
Mhm.
people walk away feeling like they got what they wanted out of a slasher.
Yep. I did. I felt pretty bad for Mo. Not gonna lie. That was a pretty great scene. That was
Yeah,
when they turned him over. I went, oh wow, okay, that's pretty great.
thank
Uh,
you.
One thing that is pretty prominent in most slasher films in the past is nudity, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's a lot of female nudity.
yeah.
However, you don't shy away from, since it's gay centric, a lot of male nudity in this film.
Hmm.
And while it doesn't feel gratuitous, like it feels like it would be happening in the places that it happens.
Yeah.
How difficult was that for your actors to get behind?
I was very transparent going into this. There's a reason that this film is entitled Meat, and it's
Right.
because the men in this film are objectified. They're treated like meat. And then
Mhm.
they're hacked up like meat as well, you know.
Right.
And this film was intentionally written to be the queer gaze
Yep.
on the slasher formula. So the amount of nudity, I was very transparent. This is a nudity heavy film. This
Yep.
is the equivalent of Prom Night 2, you know, Mary
Yep.
Lou, the whole locker room sequence. I
Yep.
wanted that, but with gay dudes, or at least
Yep.
characters playing gay dudes, because there are several straight actors in the film. There's, you know, the characters in this film are very specific, and we were making this on a shoestring budget over the course of several years that was mostly self-funded. And so
Uh-huh.
the people that came on board were people who were completely willing to dive into the characters and also fit the physicalities required for those
Mhm.
characters. Because, you know, Vinny is a very specific
Yes.
character. Mo, I mean, I was writing to a specific ethnicity here, a
Yep.
specific, you know, representation that I needed to be done properly, and I was specifically chose that at that time, and I think that comes through, you know,
Yep.
having that representation in this film, and I didn't want to lose that. I didn't want just a cast of pretty white boys, so I was really wanting to make sure that this is something where you see the people that do and don't look like you. When you
Right.
go out to a gay bar, you see all types that had to be represented here. But in order to do that, I had to be very transparent about what I was doing and what my goal was and the vision we had in mind and the amount of nudity that came with it. Everyone is a trooper, though. I mean, like
Yeah.
professionals across the board. We ran the sets a very specific way. You know, it was professional across the board. If anything was problematic, it was not welcome there. And I think that's why we're able to pull off some of the extreme, excessive amounts of nudity that we have,
Mhm.
because there are several sequences that are long running nude sequences, you know?
Yeah. Yep. The locker room scene, for one,
Uh,
was quite a lot, actually. And I gotta admit, that's probably Mo and that death are probably my two favorites in the film.
yeah.
I do have one critique on a death scene that I
Okay.
wish you would have done
Tell me. Let me
in the
hear it.
bathhouse
Okay.
when the killer is just knocking off everybody that gets in his way, he goes into a box, right?
Yeah.
Where it appears that he slices off a part of a man's body.
Yeah.
I would have loved him to throw that towards the camera. I think that would have hit the nail on the head.
Oh, like you like his junk, like if he cut
Yeah, I don't know why. Even in Rage Carrie 2, that was like the best part of the film is when the poker just pulls his junk straight out into the pool.
Spit it out. The guy just gets stabbed. I'll be transparent. He gets stabbed in the shower. But I there's one thing about the film. I think I've seen a lot of movies lately do like genital mutilation, and I really wanted, while the tone of the film is gay, the kills are just brutality.
Oh,
that is the goal, is outward expression of brutality. And so I didn't want any of the kills, while the moments happening around them were sexualized, I didn't want to take the kills in that direction. I wanted anyone that's sitting down to watch a slasher to be like, holy shit, that was just people getting massacred. And it wasn't for the sexual innuendo, the sake of a joke or something like that. It's just sheer brutality and nothing more.
That's a fair point of view. Like, I mean, that 100% makes sense. Yeah. I can totally understand that from that point of view. I will say that the third act of this film goes balls to the wall, and I loved every minute of it. I thought that you did a great job with really ramping up the tension towards the end. And I did not anticipate the killer, which is weird for me because usually I can figure it out right away.
Oh, I just got chills. You got to understand, I have screened it once for an audience, a live audience reception, which we did make changes since. But you're the first person I've gotten to sit down and talk with of having seen the film. I mean that completely in the sense of a podcaster or an interviewer or anything. Everyone I've talked with up to this point was pre them viewing the material and just talking about the buildup. So it's so exciting to hear someone respond specifically to key things that I was like, this is important to me. Yep. Good kills are important to me, are always going to be important to me. You know, nudity for the gays who are coming in wanting something, like that's important to me. But a final act, I can't tell you how many indie slashers or indie horror films I've been in where at that point in filming we were losing steam and you can see it in the final product. Yeah. I have a lot of films that I've personally been part of where it just trails off and the ending is disappointing. And I was like, not this time. Yeah. I'm going to really focus. We specifically brought actors back and did a full extended shoot because I was like, I cannot let this just peter out at the end. We have to hit it hard and really show people like, the goal of this is to be a slasher that rivals all the other cis, I guess, whatever slasher, all the regular, all the like not queer slashers. I want to be able to stand up amongst them and have people like they earned that title, you know?
This is only the second gay centric slasher that I've seen that I've really enjoyed. Most of them, and I'll be perfectly blunt, at the beginning of the film when I watched it, I thought this was going to go in a different direction, and I didn't feel like I was going to enjoy it. But it turns out that was the setup to the story, so it made sense afterwards. Because so much of gay cinema revolves around sexual acts, right? It's just about the sex, and that's not what I really enjoy about a film.
Same.
Or even a book, right? If I'm reading a book with queer characters, it's not all about the sex. That's just a part of who they are. It doesn't encompass the whole character.
Yeah,
and I think you did that really well with Noah, right? Where yes, he was trying to get it in the beginning, but then it's all about how he deals with it. And there's really, it doesn't come into play again for him other than he happens to be a queer man. And I loved that about this story.
Thank you. Also a huge point of importance for me. And Cody Steele, who plays Noah, who I think gives truly a phenomenal performance in the role. And, you know, I started writing this at a time where I envisioned myself playing that character. I'll be honest. Like when I was young enough and I could have pulled it off and I grew out of it, but I still wanted to stay true to it, you know? Sure. And so, you know, the character of Noah, like, we intentionally start him as a certain, almost a stereotype, if you will. And that whole environment, you're coming into that world, experiencing that. But because of what he goes through, which nobody else in the film can relate to, it changes him. And that has to come through in the story. And it's intentional that I didn't give him a romantic love interest. I didn't, you know, I mean, and not to give too many spoilers here, but he doesn't have any sex scenes. You see at the beginning of the movie, you see something very intentional, but as the film progresses, we're not delving into his finding the spark to start his love life. He's trying to restart his life in general
Right.
and build from the ashes, and that's the last of his worries or concerns. I was really intentional with that. So thank you for acknowledging that. And like the opening sequence, I have to say in general, like, I specifically went a certain direction with the first 15 minutes of this movie because I was building up to something that truly was so shocking and uncomfortable and sticks with you and lingers with you. So even as you get to know these characters as the movie progresses on a deeper level, you can't help but think back and be like, that was truly something that was life-changing for all of them, and they're all complicit in this to a certain extent.
Yep.
And you know that as the viewer. And even though you come to like these characters, you're like, how am I going to cope with that? How am I going to deal with now learning more about them, but knowing that they were in some way involved with what they did, with what happened?
I'll be honest with you. So I was watching this at my mom's house, and she watched with me.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend was there, and he kept asking, "Is that really what it's like?" I said, "I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? I don't understand the question." He's like, "Is that really what it's like for gay people?" I said, "Well, I mean, that's a club in your 20s. Yeah, that's the vibe. That's what it is."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I guess I just don't understand that."
Yeah.
My mother's like, "Yeah, that's about what he went through when he was in his 20s." So I was like, yeah, that pretty much nailed it. That whole vibe at the beginning of the film was 100% on par with where he was in his life when that happened. And I mean, I have not had an experience that dramatic, but in my 20s, there were some questionable situations I got into that could have gone very, very badly. Luckily for me, they didn't. But I think that you did a really great job with capturing that. And it 100% did make me uncomfortable at the beginning of the film. I'm like, this is not a subject you ever see unless it's a prison film. Right? No, not trying to spoil it for anybody, but generally you don't see scenes with that sort of content unless it's a prison film, to be honest. Even in modern cinema, they're starting to pull away from approaching those subjects. So I think it was really great the way that you handled it. While yes, you still understood it, you didn't get overly graphic on, and based on our conversation, it seems like that was intentional.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. While you do understand what's happening, you don't the horror. It's not all about what's on screen, especially the horror of that situation. It's about the actual act, and you know what's happening.
And my goal with that sequence was really capturing the buildup to feeling the sensation of drugs hitting your body.
Right.
It's not so much, there's certain things that you intentionally do not see in the opening 15 minutes of the movie. You see the buildup to it, but you don't see it because you wouldn't see that if you were in that mindset of what's happening to you. You get what I'm saying? There's a certain point where you black out. And that's why I was like, you see, it's shocking. The buildup is shocking. You see some nudity, but and I'm keeping it vague because I'm trying to like set the groundwork, but you see certain things, but when it comes to like how far we could have pushed it, it's like, and build, stop.
But
and we've shown enough.
But that's extremely respectful also to the situation. It doesn't have to be full on graphic for that sort of a scene, in my opinion. Agreed. I know I don't speak for everybody. A lot of people really want that extreme, but in my opinion, I don't have to see the end result to know what's happening. Yeah. And I thought that was done really, really well.
Thank you.
Again, like I said, it did make me uncomfortable, which was great. I have not seen something that's made me uncomfortable in a while. So let's talk about the killer's costume design.
Okay.
Tell me how that happened.
I've always had a thing for just like studded leather. Like, I mean, I don't identify necessarily as part of the leather community, though I love them. I don't necessarily dive in, but I understand how it works. And I really wanted, and there were so many different designs of what I was picturing, but I really wanted the stud to have a element of fetish wear. Yeah. But also have an intimidating silhouette. I didn't want, and listen, I love Hellbent more than many. To be honest, I am a big fan of Hellbent, but Hellbent has the slasher, like sexualization of the slasher as the shtick of it, and like it's pushed to an extreme that's like, oh my God, he's so hot, he lures him in and then he kills him. I wanted something that felt sexy but
Mhm.
also felt immensely scary. And so for me, like I ordered a piece as like a trial piece to be like, is this? It was the jacket. I got it done, and I was like, you know what? I want something that looks like it's something that someone could create themselves,
Mhm.
something that somebody would be able to piece together, but coming from the eye of a gay man who could very stylistically like craft something that's very cohesive. Because there's
Right.
a fashion element to the film too.
Yes.
Like there is, and it's an undercurrent. But that's something that I wanted all those elements to come through. And it was really that silhouette. I wanted it to be tall and slender and intimidating because I wanted this to be a killer who doesn't slowly stalk. He sprints.
Right.
I mean, you're running from him. He is not a massive, bulky, like a Jason Voorhees silhouette. He is something that is quick and fast and can show up behind you without you even knowing it's coming. And yeah, I'm really happy to know that it seems like the response is people are digging the
Yeah.
look. Because I love our killer.
Yeah.
I love the stud. And yeah, I'm happy to hear it.
I'm curious about. I want to go back to the first kill in the movie. Right.
Yeah.
There's the scene where the actress is walking in front of these glass bricks. How did you get that set? Because that was that looked really amazing with the stud walking behind those glass bricks. It warped the image so well, but you could still tell that the killer was back there. Did you just happen to know somebody that has that giant wall of bricks in their house, or did you have to scout for a location?
You are asking all the best questions. I appreciate Jim. Truly, I do. That was the last thing that we filmed because it was the scene that I insisted from day one I
Mhm.
would not bend on. And I
Okay.
wanted it in a mansion because he had to come from money in order for all of this to make sense. His dad has to be rich. It affects Noah's storyline. And I needed to show that. And I didn't want to just film in a nice loft apartment. And we were talking about like, oh, well, what if we try to make it a legal office? But I was like, no, it's like, it's got to have the pool scene. I
Mhm.
want the whole scale of it, you know? And so that was the last thing we filmed because, I mean, we crowdfunded over the course of 3 campaigns. We crowdfunded around $30,000
Okay.
over the course of 3 extended campaigns. First campaign, we made like 6K. Second campaign, we made like 3.5. And then third campaign, we came out, we had shot a lot of it. We had footage to show, we had screenshots, and we had set an Indiegogo to hit the final 10K, and we ended up almost doubling it.
Oh, nice.
So it's really nice to see the amount of support that came out when people realized what we were doing and the quality that we were striving for. And that scene, that scene with Mo, specifically that whole sequence, I was like, I needed to have this certain level of gloss factor for it to hit.
Mhm.
And once we scouted that location, when we saw that bathroom with the
Yeah.
ice blocks, I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I need. I can build the whole sequence around having this. And yeah, and it worked hugely in our favor. We did 3.5 years of filming, and I waited just for that because I didn't want
Wow.
to bend on it.
Wow. Well, congratulations on getting that shot because that was really effective. I like that one a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, what was your favorite part of shooting? What was your favorite scene to film for this movie?
Um, that's so tough. I mean, there's so many amazing elements about this production. Like it was a wonderful production. I love
Yeah.
this cast and crew. I could highlight so many moments. I think probably the most thrilling aspect for me was, I mean, we filmed in Flex Spa's bathhouse in Cleveland, which is, I believe, the largest bathhouse in America.
Oh, wow.
You can bet me on it. I'm almost positive.
Okay.
But it's massive. It's sprawling. And like, listen, like, we're talking about the opening feeling a certain way. I mean, I was a go-go dancer in Columbus. Like, I grew up living a certain life
Sure.
and having those experiences. I was on my own at 18, and I lived that way. And so I grew up in bathhouses and experiencing all of that. And so for me now, I'm 39, and I've definitely chilled out.
Yeah.
But I was like, I would need to recapture the energy of the underbelly of the gay scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to glorify the fun parts of it, but I also needed to acknowledge like what happens in the shadows, what lurks in the background, the drug usage, that because it's all defining. I mean,
Yeah.
in order to have great layered, textured, nuanced characters, you also have to be able to acknowledge some of the flaws, you
Right.
know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and so that I was like, I need to show this environment because you can knock it or not, people can act holier than thou. But I know so many gay men who I've ran into that at that bathhouse, you know, like I in my life and my experiences, that was very defining for me.
Yeah.
And they're great guys that work there. And I was like, I want to show this environment because a lot of people will identify with this. A lot of gay men
Mhm.
specifically are going to identify with that and connect with that. And who hasn't been to a seedy bathhouse, walk in those halls, bathed in red light, and thought, holy shit, this is horrifying. What a great setting for a chase scene. I mean, like, if you're a gay man and you're a horror fan and you've been to a bathhouse, you've had that thought, we've all thought it, and I brought it to life. That was my goal. And that
Yeah.
was another scene. I was like, I'm not bending on this. I have to get the bathhouse, I have to get Flex. And the guys there were, they were just the best. They were so accommodating. And they let us get those big, because the opening sequence, that one,
Mhm.
that the dramatic one we're talking about, and then the whole big sequence that comes later in the movie, that's all within Flex, and they were extremely accommodating. So for that, and like how I connected to that space, I was like,
Mhm.
just like, how cool that I was able to take the experiences growing up and like inject that into my storytelling and the art that I'm creating.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So we know you're in the Houston Horror Film Festival.
Yeah.
What and forgive me that I don't know more about that particular film festival. Is that a judged film festival with awards and that kind of stuff too?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a queer, mostly queer ran film festival.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really kick-ass event. I've helped out with several last few years. I've done some of their panels
Okay.
because I know Troy, who is part of the festival. Like I said, I've known him for years. I've worked on a few of his films, and I've worked with him on Dark Knight the podcast for 5 years now. We just literally this week is our 5-year anniversary, which is
Wow.
insane.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it's yeah, we're still going strong. But yeah, so it was for me. I was like, I have a close connection with this festival in the sense of it was my first real experience of diving in. I'd been to a few festivals. I went, but I didn't have like a group of people. I've developed a network within the community, really thanks to Houston. So it's a festival that's really important to me. And I was like, I'm going to submit to this first before any other, because I want to have that be like, if I can get into that, if I can make that my premiere, that would be mean the world to me. So I'm
Yep.
so lucky that that ended up being the event that we will not technically have its first national premiere. We did a screening, but it was a test screening, and we have made
Right.
changes since then. What you saw is very different from what we screened a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like you said, I was really excited after finishing the film because it was so different
Mhm.
from everything else that you see that's quote unquote queer cinema.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that, and I really hope there's more of that to come from you. I really do.
Fingers crossed. This is gonna be really defining for me, honestly. Like, this is the one where I was like, I'm putting it all in there. It's my Hail Mary.
Yeah.
It is. I've grown up, like you said, I've done a lot of films. I've been doing this for 20 years now. I started when I was 19.
Wow.
And did I say, yeah, that's 20 years. 20 years old. Oh gosh. But it's for me, like, I have a partner,
Mhm.
I have a life, I have a
Yeah.
career, and this is always on the outskirts, and it's fucking exhausting. It's
Yeah.
exhausting. But it's what I want to do. And I was like, I can keep making these little small projects on the side and a couple $1,000s here, a couple thousand there, and they only get seen to a certain extent, or I can really give it my all and try to show what I can do if I
Mhm.
have some funding behind me, and just show like what I see in my mind. This is what I want to create, and if this resonates with people, I'll keep doing it. I really hope that Meat hits with people. It seems like it's going to hit in a different way from anything else I've been involved with so far.
Sure.
So I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping that the audiences connect with it.
Yeah. You were talking about the whole the beginning of the film where you were trying to help the audience understand what perception would be like while they were under the influence. And there's only one other movie that I think did it really, really well, other than Meat. And I don't know if you've seen it, but it's another slasher flick called Bad Girl Boogie.
I know of it. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. No, I
And
haven't seen it.
they do a really great job with color and sound and
Okay.
music, and interpreting what I understand PTSD reactions to be.
Mhm.
So I thought that was in that film was probably the best representation of a post traumatic stress sort of reaction from a
Yes.
character that I've seen actually on film.
Yeah. Who
And
directed that?
that I do not know, but I can find out.
I feel like they also did maybe T Blockers. I'm pretty sure it's a trans filmmaker. Love that. But I've heard the title come up several times. I've not seen it yet, but it's on a list for me of recommendations. So I definitely intend to. I save all these titles for the podcast, and then I'm like, let's
Mhm.
bust it out.
Right.
So I've not specifically checked out yet, but it's definitely on my list of ones I need to see. I can expedite that specifically because I do think that is relevant right now with me coming up.
Yeah. It's Alice. I'm going to butcher the middle name. Mao, Maio, McKay is
Okay.
the director. And she
Look
was
and see
also
what
under
other
co-writer.
films Alice directed, if you don't mind. Just click because
Sure.
there's something
Yeah.
else that they directed that is ringing a bell.
T Blockers.
Yep, T Blockers. I was right.
Yep.
Yep. I said it. All right, got it.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Yeah,
I do.
definitely. I highly recommend it, even if you just watch that sequence.
Okay.
And
I'll
you'll
have to
know
watch
it
the whole
when
thing.
you see it. But
Okay.
it's absolutely fantastic. And I think you accomplished the same thing with the beginning of the film, where you're trying to show that what perception would be like under the influence. I think you did a very good job.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I know what that feels like, so
Thank you.
I thought it was really well represented. So, what is your? I mean, obviously, everybody wants the film to be a success, but what is the ultimate goal with Meet? Is it just to get your experience out there? Is it just to get the film out there? What are you hoping to gain from the movie screening specifically?
My dream journey for Meet would be hitting several film festivals, getting a response, and road showing the film. I would love to play Meet in theaters within queer districts in major cities, like a New York, a Chicago, a Boston. This is my ideal structure. Screening it there,
Yep.
and then having the cards in my hand. So if I want to self-distribute it at that point, I do it. But if I get a good enough offer, I'm going to run with it. But I'm not at the point to make an offer yet because I think we're just at the start of the journey for the
Yeah.
film. I really think give me a couple film festivals to show this off, and I think it's going to connect with an audience. And I think that I need to hold the cards in my hands for a little bit longer and see what comes up. In an ideal world, I would love to get on Shudder. That would make me a happy clam. I'd
Yep.
be so happy just because they've been consistently true to queer filmmakers. They've remained consistent on that, and they've released a lot of great queer cinema. And I appreciate that about them and just the overall outreach. So that would be ideal. I don't know. I mean, this journey's exciting. I want to see from this, for me personally, I would love to have someone come to me and say, I saw that and I trust you enough with your next endeavor that I want to help.
That's
fund
awesome.
it. That's what I want.
I actually do have a recommendation for another film festival. I just don't know how close to the deadline we are.
Okay, which
I
one?
think it's only 3 days.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to a book convention
Okay.
called Killer Pride. It's put on by an organization called Scares That Care.
Okay.
It's going to be in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Okay.
It is all LGBTQIA focused or in support of. And what Scares That Care does is they donate 3 $25,000 checks to 3 different cases. There's a burn victim, I believe domestic abuse, and for whatever reason at the moment, I think cancer.
Okay.
I want to say cancer, but I'm not positive. But it's 3 cases. And they're putting on this event for the first time, and they're going to have a film festival there.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, my goal is queer-centric horror film festivals. If it's a queer film festival that has major horror themes, or a horror film festival that specifically has a queer vibe to it, I guess. I don't know. That's really my goal. So yeah, I am all about anyone who wants to consider the title. I want to get eyes on it because it is. Like I said, what you saw.
Yep.
That final cut is fresh out of the oven. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
I will send you the link because I have the link because I actually recommended it to another friend also. So if you're interested, feel free to submit it.
Oh, awesome! Please do. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited because I've not been to. I've been to horror movie conventions all over the place. This will be the first LGBTQIA focused horror convention I've been to. Granted, it's mostly books, which is great because I read a lot.
Yeah.
But like Amanda Bierce is going to be there, Mimi Rogers is going to be there, so they're going to definitely have some film tie-ins because generally they do a horror movie convention called Mad Monster.
Okay.
Which is horror movies, 100%. And that's how I found out about this. I went to their convention in Atlanta, and I'm so excited.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
I'm all about it.
Yeah. What does the future hold for you, Roger? What's your next project?
I just did Christopher Wesley Moore's Until You're Alone, which I filmed in Mississippi, which is queer. Okay. It's very giallo. It was a great experience, so that was fun. Mm-hmm. I just shot a film called What's Wrong, Wendy, which is also a wonderful experience. But I don't know. I mean, like, I want to act. That's what I'm wanting to do is act. That's the main thing I'm wanting to do right now. And I will jump back into the directing pool here shortly.
What are you doing? Okay. Give me 1 second. Sure. I got my my cousin in here for a minute.
Gotcha.
That's right. Jimmy's right here.
Sorry about that. My 93-year-old cousin just moved in with us.
Oh, so, no reason to apologize at all.
He wanted to say goodnight.
Oh, well, that's delightful.
Yeah,
good night.
He's a very good guy. I'm glad he's someplace safe. It was getting to a point where he just wasn't safe on his own anymore.
I'm sorry.
So anyway,
it's lovely that you all are opening your home up to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. Where were we?
You were asking what the future holds for me, and I was saying that I'm wanting to act and jump back in the director pool eventually if I can get funded the way I want to.
Fair enough. Yeah. That is fair enough. So tell me about some of your inspirations. You said you were a huge horror movie fan. What inspired you to start making a horror film?
I mean, it's what I grew up knowing. Like I was so, if it wasn't The Wizard of Oz, it was Night of the Living Dead. And this is at the age of 7. So I grew up with a flair for cinema, I guess, but I always connected with horror genre. I love the feeling of being scared. I was able to overcome like my fears of scary movies at a relatively young age. And once I got over it, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is so cool. So, I did a film at one point that was like a homage to Romero's Night of the Living Dead on a really small shoestring budget. I'm talking really small budget. Yeah. And that was kind of just me exploring being a director for myself. I've worked on other films, I've AD'd on multiple films, but for me, I just was like, what's my style? Like I need to develop my approach to cinema. So by the time Meat came around, I was like, okay, I've made my mistakes. I know what I did wrong. The goal is to improve. The goal is always to build upon your craft. My goal with this is to kick it up, and so, I don't know. It's just, I love to do it. It's just fucking exhausting. It's so exhausting.
I'm sure it is exhausting, but I really hope that this movie gets the reception you want, because I think it is definitely a breath of fresh air in the queer cinema genre. I really, really, you're going to have to keep me posted on when you get a physical media release, because I need it.
Oh my God. Oh, thank you. Let me tell you, I'm just going to say, and every director says this, that there's always a director's cut. But I mean, the film is over 2 hours. It's 2 hours and 18 minutes with credits.
Yep.
There was 40 some minutes that hit the cutting room floor. I mean, this, like, my assistant director was like, this should have been a mini series. I was like, no, it's a movie. But eventually I would love, just because a lot of good material, it was for the sake of timing, as always does.
Yeah.
But I would love to get all of that out there soon, because I think viewers who enjoy this film will respond well to all the extras that they didn't see. But yeah, there's definitely, physical media is the dream. And however I achieve that, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm here for it. What about merchandising?
I mean, I already have I just said scream. Oh my god, I already have meat shirts. I already have meat shirts designed, and we did a test run for our first screening. I have a whole Indiegogo campaign that now that the movie is done, my next step, other than film festivals, is Indiegogo. Like all of these perks that I now am like, okay, well, this is the next thing I got to do. So we have a bunch of things designed that it's going to roll out when all of that will be sent out around coming up by the holidays, and around the new year, we're probably going to start doing merch. And by that time, hopefully we have a deal to announce with it.
Keep me posted, please.
Oh, for sure. Oh, absolutely. It's just the beginning.
Especially this graphic that we're using here. I love that. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. That artist, Cleveland-based artist. I mean, a majority of the talent that worked in this film, I was really making a point to get queer artists to work on this. And so from the photographers to the digital artists to even the CGI digital graphics, like there's so much queer influence in this film. And I think that queer eye comes through in the way that the guys are lit and stylized. And I did the costuming. You said I wore a lot of hats at the beginning. Like I wore all the hats. Let's be clear. At one point or another. No, I'm joking. Aside from my amazing cinematographer and editor Mick Coons, who anything technical, I can't do any of that. That's all him, and he is just out of this world. He's so good.
Well, if you're saying you did costuming, then I do have another question for you.
Okay.
Mo's swimsuit looked so uncomfortable with those metal buckles.
What does?
Mo's swimsuit?
Oh yeah.
Buckles on the side. I was like, that just no. I'm sorry. That just looked painful.
I wanted something. Here's the thing: is like each guy has their own kind of build and look, and and I was like, he's pushing back against his father. But he's also like I'm like, I personally would never be able to wear something like that. But because of who he is,
right,
it makes sense to have something that's like, oh my God, like, so that character needed that because he's all about the presentation value and looking like he's from money. But I showed it to the actor and he was like, okay.
So good. It wasn't just me having that reaction. I was like, I don't know. Kudos to him because I couldn't do it.
No, I mean, these guys are definitely supposed to be the plastics. If you're thinking Mean Girls terminology, these are the plastics of the gay community that I all either grew up interacting with or being harassed by or being part of, like, and like, you grow out of that, hopefully at a certain point. But these individuals are still deep in it, and you got to kind of bring that through there. And so it's definitely the costuming. I wanted to reflect that very flashy, showy aspect of the gay community. When we want to show up, we show up. We show up,
Yep. So I do want to talk about my two favorite female characters, though.
Oh, I love that you have favorite female characters. That's great.
Theo and Kaylee, I loved. I'm not gonna lie, Theo more than Kaylee, but I thought they were both great. The actresses were phenomenal.
Yeah.
I wanted Kaylee to be a little more pissy, though, if I'm being honest. Because the scene in the beginning where she's dropping off Noah, like I feel like she should have been a lot more angry. Like she was like, and that's probably because of my own personal experience. Like my family, I would have gotten my sister would have hit me. There would have been no nice talking to.
Yeah, I think one thing I was really trying to display here is like Noah comes from, and you don't get to see his parents, but like you do see like the inside of Kaylee's apartment and everything, and he comes from money. Like she's driving a Tesla. Like this is a certain family, this is a certain structure, and so we made sure, like with her character, she had to be likable, but it also had to be a certain level of like, I mean, coming from white money. Like this is a certain experience. Noah, up until what happens to him, Noah has not had that scale of hardships. He's a freewheeling, coke snorting kind of gay. And so I think that interaction, we purposely crafted that way. There is a whole story arc that we cut from the film of when Noah comes back. Okay. Aside from, coming out of prison, because of what happened with the opening of the film, he actually is put on a sex offender registry.
Okay.
And there's a whole arc of dialogue with him and her that no longer could be part of the story, because I felt right now with where political political disruption that's happening within our country. The last thing I needed to do was have that kind of level of like negative connotation.
Right.
Even though that him being given that title really is not warranted.
Right.
And that's something we kind of learn as the film progresses. It's not deserved. But still, I didn't even want to go there. I was like, I don't even want to go. I don't want to rock the boat and interject something like that. Because then people be like, see, they even say that gays are molesters and doing awful things and sex offenders. And like, I just didn't even want to interject that into the material. So that, I mean, Kaylee is a prominent factor of the story, but there was at one point where she was a very specific through line related to that material that had to get weaned out, I think, just for the betterment of where we're at right now.
That's fair enough. And this is not going to come out right.
Okay.
But I'm going to say it anyway. Theo's character, I absolutely love, right? She's strong. She's vulnerable. She's all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why, but I got like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, like a prostitute with a heart of gold type vibe from her. And I don't know that that's what she was going for, but that's just like, it's somebody you want to be friends with that you know is going to always be there for you, whether she's right or wrong.
That's exactly what the goal was. I mean, the opening of the movie, she's making out with that one girl, and then she sees the cop, and she's like, "Hey," like that's. Yeah. But she's, I mean, as the film progresses, she still has that.
Yep.
But not anywhere near to the extent that it was. But she's that freewheeling fun gal that's running with the gays, and she looks good enough to run with this clique of gays. She's that hot piece of bisexual ass that everyone clusters around. You know, yep. She just gives off that energy. That actress, Caitlin Newberry, is one of my very best friends. I've been working with her for years.
Wow.
And I've always been wanting to incorporate her into one of my films. And Caitlin, I mean, the last few years has moved to Atlanta. She recently was directed by Clint Eastwood. She was in Juror Number 5. And she has gone on to have an array of major roles in really fantastic, like larger scale productions. And I was lucky to get her because technically her schedule really would not accommodate this. So the fact that I was able to get her signed on to Meet when I did was a blessing because she truly is one of the single most amazing actors I know. And I think you said like the whole idea of the final act going full steam is because my goal, I was like, I don't want this to feel cheap. I need to let these actors act. Like when you're going through this kind of an experience, there is a primal reaction that has to come out. And she knows she can sell it, man. So yeah, I think she was utilized perfectly, and I'm so honored that she was part of this movie.
Yeah, and like I said, Theo and Kaylee were definitely my two favorite female characters for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
But I told you this right before we went live is I have one critique for one character. And I did not realize that it was you. First of all, let me start with that. But I mentioned Brody when you're having the dispute with your suppliers. I've worked in logistics before, and there should have been a lot more swearing and yelling. But other than that, good job, great job.
I work when I'm not making film. I work in insurance, so my entire day is me knowing exactly how to talk to people to make sure that they feel like I'm really invested and that they really think I genuinely care and I'm absolutely there to do anything that they need at all. And so it's a certain persona that you have to put on. It's a reassuring persona in the midst of at times chaos. And that was Christopher Moore, again, who I'd recently worked with. And I was like, I don't have a lot of options for a cameo, but I was like, because I know your voice tones and the kind of characters you can put on, let me write to that. So I think you're absolutely valid, but I was like, I think he's going to sell this Southern belle, this Southern dame on the other end of the line, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, minuscule. And like I said, it was just because my experience in logistics was a little rougher than that interaction. But again, totally kidding. It was great. So with what is, I mean, I don't know if you even have it planned. Have you only submitted to Houston right now, or do you have other film festivals you're lining up?
I've submitted to 5. I've made it to Houston. I was declined to 1 so far. So 50-50. I'm going to submit to a lot more. this is my first time navigating the film festival,
Sure.
the world of film festivals in general, and I'm learning as I go. And so I think for me, like really the one thing that I'm trying to set myself up for is not just going to every single festival. I'm not gonna be like Sundance and
Right,
drop out
yeah.
like what $250. Like I need to spend consciously
Yeah,
and
of
be
course.
aware of my budget. And I've pumped so much money into this that I'm prepared to spend a bit more. But if I'm going to spend on these film festivals, it needs to be ones that I think the film is going to resonate with.
Mhm.
That there's going to be some connecting energy because film festivals. Every film festival has a theme, has a vibe, has a certain
Yep.
style they're going for. And just because your film's declined, it doesn't mean it's a bad film. It just has to fit the vibe of what they're going for,
Yeah,
And so I'm trying
absolutely.
to be very aware of what festivals I select. But if anyone has any recommendations, by all means,
I do
let me
actually.
know.
I do actually, and I will send you some information that I have.
Yeah.
It's actually an indie film festival for a convention called Horror on the Ohio.
I saw this recently because I was like, is it in Ohio? Because I'm in Ohio, but
It
it's
is not.
It's
It's in
in
Indiana.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will
Sure.
actually, I'm actually going there, and I have a friend of mine that's also submitted two friends of mine that have submitted films for that film festival. So I will. I have some information I can send you for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly, I'm looking for suggestions because I've been to a few of them,
Mhm.
but I've just really started my journey of just being involved with film festivals, and I didn't even know what a community it was until the
Mhm.
last few years. And I made really amazing friends, and I've only got so much PTO, so I gotta pick
Fair enough.
which ones can I go to? So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all about submitting though, for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, so what? Tell me about your podcast now, because you just brought that up, and I was not aware that you were part of a podcast. So tell me about your podcast.
Dark Night of the Podcast. It's myself and Troy Escamilla, who again, director of Party Night, Mrs. Claus, and Teacher Shortage, and Hollow Lake, which I recently appeared in.
Oh,
Uh,
then you know my
Brandon.
friend Brandon.
Brandon plays my boyfriend.
Oh my God, I
I
want to see
know.
that film so bad. I'm just saying.
It's Troy. Troy's the director. He's my friend. He filmed here in Ohio. It was a great time. Yeah. Oh my God, Brandon was such a blast.
Yeah,
I love
he's been on the
those
podcast
guys.
a few times. He's
The
a great
Monster
guy.
Makeup Boys are wonderful, and I love everything they're doing. They were a big inspiration for me to push forward with Meat because they Death Trap Gorgeous, their journey with that.
Yeah.
Talk about another indie, bootstrapping it, making it work with what you have, independent queer cinema. That was groundbreaking. You want to talk about groundbreaking? That was groundbreaking. I love those guys. But yeah, I forget where I was even going. Oh, talking about Troy. So yeah, so Dark Night the podcast. We started during COVID, and we just never stopped doing it. And so we just every bi-weekly, I'll say bi-weekly right now because of the film festival schedules, we analyze a classic horror title. We try to not do really modern or in the moment movies. We try to do ones that are maybe a little more obscure, and so we do like a 2-hour deep dive though on the making of the film, the whole story. We really analyze it. And we try to give each film like a lot of attention and analysis and a good understanding. And so, yeah, we literally just had our 5-year anniversary this week. We also run the panels for the Houston Horror Film Festival, which is really cool. I'm doing that when I'm not going to be there representing my film. I'm going to be doing that for the Scream Queen panel and so forth. It's going to be really awesome.
Well, you got a little bit of a moniker, didn't you?
The Scream Queen.
Yeah.
Listen, I have had that since I was 20 years old, and I am not letting it go.
Good for you.
Thank you. It's mine.
Hey, good. I'm all about it. I cannot wait to see Hollow Lake. That is something I've been interested in since I saw Brandon working on it, because I'm a big fan of his books.
Yeah.
This is how I met him. I'm ashamed to admit I've not seen anything he's been in yet.
Oh.
But I need to.
Listen, I love Death Trap Gorgeous. It was a blast, but Saint Drogo blew me away artistically, like filmmaker to filmmaker. Again, I said earlier, the goal is growth.
Yeah.
The goal is like building upon your craft, and each film trying to do something bigger and better and improving in some way. And the jump in just overall quality from Death Trap Gorgeous to Saint Drogo was truly breathtaking. And mean that like I mean he's my friend, but
Yeah.
there's a difference between being like, oh, I really enjoyed their film, and being like, holy shit, that was really good. So
That's fair.
I stand by. I really love Saint Drogo, and I can't wait to see what comes for them from that. But yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to say thank you for hanging out with me, Roger. This has been great.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the film, and I can't wait to see all the amazing things that come from it. I will absolutely send you the links that we talked about for sure
Yeah.
to make sure we don't miss anything. And I always do this. I should have done this at the beginning. Where can people follow you on social media in case they want to engage with your films?
Oh yes, please. Add me by all means on Instagram. That's the one I use the most. The Scream Queer, nice and easy. Meet the
Imagine.
movie on Instagram, nice and easy. I did deactivate my my X, so I'm no longer on that. I'm on Blue Sky. I mean, if you search the Scream Queer, it's probably going to be me. But yeah, and Facebook. I'm all about connecting with fellow creators. I'm all about collaborating with fellow creators and queer creators especially. So I'm all about networking. Get in touch with me.
That is great. We appreciate it. So for everybody that's been watching, thank you very much. I am going to end the stream and we'll chat for a minute and then I'll let you go. Okay. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.